So I'm in the process of installing a filter into this pond, and in the bottom of the pond there we have a PFN Aquael water pump, and then that's going to pump up to a Oase filter, which eventually is going to get covered in plants so we can't see it so obviously. The water is going to go up into the filter. Now the idea is good bacteria is going to grow in the filter, so you want to have the filter running 24/7, because the bacteria in the filter is what breaks down the waste from the fish, and the bacteria needs oxygen and nutrients and so forth, so the filter needs to be running all the time. And the beauty of these particular filters is the backwash function. So all you do is switch it to backwash and pump on the handle, and that cleans the filter very efficiently. And then we're just going to need to consider where the backwash goes, because we put the backwash on there and we need that to backwash the filter without flowing back into the pond. Run the filter for a couple of weeks before we plug the UV in, because the UV is going to kill bacteria and various algae and stuff. So whenever you set these filters up, it's better to not run the UV all the time at the start. Once the filter is well established, then you can turn the UV on and leave it on. The other thing you want to be aware of is the UV tube itself is best replaced once a year. So if you just make a note of when you install the UV tube, and then once a year you want to pull the UV tube out, give it a clean, and even clean the quartz sleeve the UV tube is in, and then you're good to go for another year. So not running it on at the very start is a good idea. So we got it pumping up from there into here, and then back down the little waterfall there.
I might need to dig that rock out and fashion it underneath it, but it looks pretty good where it is.
Yeah, once it's all grown over, it should work quite well. And a waterfall is ideal for gas exchange and oxygen. So the other thing is, it's good just to keep the waterfall clean every now and then, because you want to make sure the water goes back into the pond. And if there's heaps of crap on it, sometimes that means the water doesn't go back into the pond. But this doesn't look like it'll be any problem whatsoever.
No, I was going to say.
This looks like it's going to be great.
And it's pretty well centered anyway, so that's good.
And the flow is good. It sort of looks really good. Now, one of the simplest and best things you can have for a pond is a good old fish net. And that way you can just do the good old scoopy and reduce the amount of decay and rotting stuff rotting in your pond.
Yeah, that's cool.
Very good, very simple, done regularly. Fabulous.
I mean, this has been here for
so when you install something like a filter, when you install it, it always looks a bit like dog's balls, but over time, if you get something like this mondo grass and plant that through here, you really want to aim to, lose the house bricks and then let the mondo grass grow and leave that pipe in position, and that's perfect. So we've got the pipe from the pump going up into here, and then the water going from here back onto the waterfall. Now over time, if the waterfall is not pumping so well, there's a couple of things you need to do. Number one is make sure you get any leaves or crap that might be on the pump. And the other thing is, maybe once a year you want to pull the impeller out. Inside the pump is an impeller. Pull it out, clean the housing, give the whole thing a clean, turn it back on. That's a nice flow rate. It's a nice trickly water sound. And then the other pipe is going from the backwash down to the bottom, and we just backwash that filter until it runs out clean. When it's dirty, you pump on the handle, it cleans the filter. And then you want to probably get in the habit of, every time you buy fish, you bring a sample of water and a video of the situation down to Majestic Aquariums, and we can advise you. And probably once a quarter, get in the habit of just bringing a video and a water sample down to Majestic, and we can advise you if your levels are correct. The water levels that we'll be worried about is ammonia and nitrite. That will be telling us if our filter is effective. Then nitrate will tell us if you're doing enough water changes, and doing a water change with the backwash is a very good way of doing a water change. And pH and GH and KH. So they're the things we want to test, and then we can advise you how it's going. And if you bring a sample down once a quarter, then you'd be all good. And if you're doing a bit of a water change through the filter, at least once a month, and if you're using a net and scooping out the leaves when you can be bothered, and make sure you're feeding good quality foods like probiotics, and this will be a lovely experience. If your fish go missing, it could be your birds. A turtle would look cool in here.